you could be like 60, 70 something years
Yeah,
old,
yeah,
walk
yeah.
in
I
here
just
and
want to say that
yeah.
I unmuted us ready to say the lowest we'll take is 16. And just out of context,
Uh-huh.
that is wild. I've left
Oh
PK as that.
God.
But
Mhm.
welcome everyone to session 4 of Call of Cthulhu, Memento Mori. I haven't streamed a TTRPG in the better part of a week, all of the week actually, and I forgot to hit record until halfway through the intro. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I can always I can edit that out. I can edit that out. But enough out of this old hound wolf. We're gonna go around the table. We're gonna have everyone introduce themselves, tell us who they're playing, and then we're gonna do a nice little recap of what transpired last session from me. I like to hear myself talk, and I haven't done it much this week. So let's take it away. We're gonna go Anton, Amara, David, and Duncan. Take it away, gentlemen.
Um, Sunday, also known as Jeff. I am playing Anton Andreevich Orlov, your friendly neighborhood truck driver, transporter of different goods, and feeling totally out of place in this strange new world.
Okay, I am Professor X. I will be playing Amara Al Haradi, a Moroccan private investigator and veteran of the Great War. Also, just to be clear, not a pedophile, not even remotely. I teach high school, so that would be problematic if that were the case.
Yikes.
Just wanted to go on record. Just wanted to go on record.
I forgot to record that, by the way. So,
Oh, good. So it'll be completely out of context.
yeah.
Great. Super. Oh, look, I've just been fired. Cool. Great.
Oh,
Email.
faster than I
Yeah.
thought.
Email
The
just came in.
education system does good work.
Well,
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk after the stream.
yeah.
So was it me next?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I play David Knox, a medical student who has recently come into a large fortune and probably some crippling psychological disorders, as is apropos for Call of Cthulhu.
I'm Symbol. I play a new character this session, Detective Duncan Murphy from Baston. 'Cause I'm from Baston, apparently, and I'm on my way to join the group as Amaro has given me a call because she knows that I've encountered something spooky the night before. So should be interesting.
Very good. Very good. And of course, I am Daryl Wolf, the game master, the spinner of tales, the keeper in this particular game. But enough out of that. Enough of that. So when we last left off, our intrepid investigators, you all had followed a strange and unbelievable trail that led you to a small abandoned, or at least what you thought was abandoned, farmhouse on the outskirts of Arkham City. Strange things happen. People walking that shouldn't have been walking. Some sort of strange smoke like swirling monster, a ritual, a literal madman in the basement. You know, it was. If you hadn't been there, you might not believe it, but even having been there, you question some of the things that transpired at that farmhouse. Your friend, Reginald, had been surprisingly stoic as you all returned back to Arkham. David was passed out, seemingly in some sort of coma. The drive back, everyone just doing their best to make sure he was still alive. The entire time, Reginald was, again, stoic, didn't say much. And finally, when you returned back to St. Mary's Teaching Hospital, he had simply stated sometimes the older generation must do the right thing and step aside and let the youth handle the problems of the world. I wish you all the best, and cheerio. And he simply departed, leaving you all to carry David into the hospital, where he was quickly admitted and where he has stayed in a hospital room just next to where your late friend Rupert Merriweather had died. The hospital itself still very empty, not a lot of patients right now, which is interesting, I suppose. But I'd like us to open our first scene like us to open our first scene with, well, with a dream, actually. And David, you have been experiencing dreams that feel real. And you know they're dreams, but even as you know they're dreams, you find yourself lost in them and completely absorbed by them. Some of them have you wandering through seemingly endless deserts until you find a massive pyramid that seems to rise up out of the sandy dunes like some sort of leviathan monster. In other dreams, you find yourself in the middle of a vast, seemingly endless ocean, where in the distance some sort of massive shape seems to rise up and send this massive tidal wave writhing towards you along with these long, outstretched kind of tendrils that seem to drape from its huge monstrosity's maw. But the most recent dream that you find yourself having is a dream of an old kind of dirt road that travels next to looks to be a small diner. There's a little auto body shop, little, mechanic shop next to it. And you also see the name of this location. It says Orchard Run. And you find yourself as though you are in a vehicle. You think you're in a vehicle. And you can hear, all you can do is look straight, but you can hear these muffled voices around you. And they're talking about something about this light that they've seen, this light. And as you're driving down the road and you see this mechanic shop, you see this little diner, suddenly you see a woman standing in the middle of the road. The car screeches, seems to tumble, and suddenly you find yourself awake. In the room, you see, Momaro, where would you be in the hospital room as David sits up, suddenly awake? Where would you be?
I would say that usually those hospital rooms have got like a pair of chairs that are like against the wall, and maybe one of those small like tables you can rest your elbow on. Amara would be sitting in one of those. She would be smoking, which is not great protocol in a hospital, but
It's the
it
20s.
it was a different time, right? Yeah, cancer came from goblins, I think. Yeah, she'd be smoking. Also, she's got like a cup and saucer. She's gotten like some espresso or something, and she would be reading a newspaper.
Mhm. What about Anton? Would he be in the room with them, or would he have been elsewhere at this time?
Anton would be in and out of the room. Not he's feeling guilty for a lot of what happened
Mhm.
to David. Could have done more, that type thing. So kind of pretty much harassing, bugging the living daylights out of the staff, to make sure that David is taken care of, given the best treatment, that type thing.
I like that. So in this moment,
Anything Amara needs, Anton's going out to get it for her, make sure that somebody's there to take care, be there with him the whole time.
in this particular day, we find you returning with a cup of coffee, two of them actually, two little cups of coffee in those little like paper cups. And David, you feel yourself awaken out of this strange dream. You can still hear the screeching of these tires, and you can still see this woman, this blonde-haired, very gaunt. She looks like she has cuts and scrapes, maybe some burns on her face, and she's simply reaching out towards the light of the headlamps on this vehicle. Whoever was driving spins the wheel to the left, the car tumbles and spins, and you find yourself almost feeling as you're being thrown from the vehicle. You feel yourself almost thrown up into a sitting position. You find yourself gasping for air. So Amara, And Anton, you would see for the first time in 2 weeks, David has awoken, is gasping for breath, and I leave the scene to the three of you.
David! So, David, you're awake. This is good, no?
And David tries to say something, but there's only this sort of cracking sound that emerges from his cracked or dried lips as he attempts to raise a hand, but that sort of the atrophy has set in, not fully, but certainly 2 weeks in bed has left him enfeebled. And he sort of almost jerks his hand up as if it's the limb of a marionette moving towards his mouth, and starts slumping back in the chair even as those croaks emerge from his throat.
Anton's immediately trying to find water, glass of water or something to give to you.
You find one.
So it's all right, David. Just calm down. Take slow, regular breaths. You are safe here.
Some of that strange emotion seems to abate from his eyes. He settles slightly as he's handed the cup of water, choking on it as he tries to drink too quickly in his thirst. And the first words that sort of groan and gurgle out of his mouth through that choking are, "What happened? The cottage."
Well, Anton, would you like to, or shall I?
He saved us, no?
That's right. Because of you, David. And the not inconsiderable efforts of Anton, myself, and Reginald, we won the day.
Reginald, where is he?
Yes, I'm afraid he's left. I believe the adventure was a bit too brisk for someone of his age.
And he slumps again, some of the fight almost draining from his limbs. He doesn't quite seem as agitated. But he's alive.
I suppose so, unless that driver of his has gotten into some sort of accident on Fils and Main.
Well, we all made it. We all made it.
I still don't know what to make of what it was that we saw, but no, we make it.
Are you feeling all right, David? Do you remember what happened?
It's all flashes of sensation and sound. The thing, it condensed into some sort of dust. It was everywhere. It was all over me. I think he starts breathing a little bit heavily, moving a hand to his chest. It's almost like I can still feel it.
Anton and I have been coordinating with the doctors and nurses here. As far as we can tell, you were in shock. You were somewhat battered in terms of your health, but now you seem very much on demand. And so I think perhaps these feelings you're having entirely in the head. Yeah?
Amara, not a week. How long have I been here?
How long, Anton?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Yes, that sounds right.
Well, then, not 3 weeks ago, I thought that thing was in people's heads, that all of those sorts of things, whatever they really are, were in people's heads. So I'm not really. I don't know.
No, David, you don't understand. These things can be real, and you can also be crazy. They are not mutually exclusive.
So that was real.
What else could it be? Four people sharing the same sort of aggressive delusion in a particular place at a particular time.
I was hoping maybe government do something to make us see something that wasn't really there.
And no, I feared that they are not so competent.
And not so malicious. You're not in Russia anymore. This is
No.
America.
Agree to disagree.
But you're quite right, Amara. That it's unless we were exposed to some sort of hallucinogenic substance in the cottage, which even I don't accept as an explanation, we wouldn't all have delusions, and they wouldn't certainly be identical.
We are forced into believing it by sheer logic, I suppose.
Then the question becomes what we're going to do about that.
I am a bit ahead of you, David. I have called an associate of mine from Boston. He is coming here to fill our ranks, so to speak. And he is someone who is already, let us say, on the bandwagon in terms of this business.
Well, we wouldn't want any skeptics among us, would we?
No, you take up that role just fine, David. And will continue to, provided you take it easy on the water and so on.
I think I'm going to be moving on to something stronger once I've recovered my own constitution.
I can help with that. You let me know.
I'll
Hook you up.
I very much appreciate that, my friend. Has my lawyer been by?
Several times. Check on you.
Periodically over the last 2 weeks.
Then Anton, I will be able to recompense you appropriately for whatever services you render, I think.
Is no problem.
And he looks quite sternly at the two of you, but not severely or with any kind of aggression or malice. But no, if it weren't for the two of you, I would be dead. You said that I saved you? No, I think rather we saved each other.
And that's what comrades do.
Well, I was trying to be polite and complimentary, but sure, it was all of us then.
No reason for you to start being polite to me now, Amara. It's quite all right.
Whatever you mean, David, I've been nothing but cordial with you. You don't want
Agree.
to see me upset with you.
Agree to disagree, then.
Delightful. What I'd like to do, if I may, just for a moment, I want to pause this scene here. We're going to travel to a road, kind of zoom the camera out. We watch as we travel north along a road that goes from Arkham to a neighboring city by the name of Bolton. About 30 miles north, not too far. Far enough to where you usually drive or take a bus. Duncan, how are you arriving, or how are you traveling to Arkham to meet with Mara?
Oh, I'm coming with my own vehicle.
You've been traveling down southward from Boston. You're traveling down this 2-lane road. It sort of curves left and right. Every so often, you'll see the Atlantic, and then it starts to curve a little more inland. And you're in this very heavily kind of forested area. As you're traveling south along the road, you start to hear some strange kind of sputtering in your car's engine, and it starts to sounds like some of the pistons are maybe skipping. The timing is starting to be off, and you're watching the little heat meter start to get higher and higher and higher on the vehicle. Like it may be starting to overheat. I'd like you to give me a quick notice check, please.
A quick notice.
Or spot hidden, excuse me. Spot hidden.
Ooh, I'm very good at that.
Good. Yeah. Well, here's the good news. You're alive, but as you're driving down the road, you start to feel the vehicle start to kind of pull to the left, and you can feel the engine starting to shake and rattle and shake and rattle. And as you start to pull to the left, you have to give me a luck check, if you don't mind, because I'm going to
Okay.
see how bad this is going to be, because you did not spot. Yikes. All right. So there is a boom. You hear your right tire blow. You feel the car start to spin. Give me a strength check to keep it from barreling into this tree that you see coming up very quickly.
Nope.
Wow.
And he dies.
And there's a kablam. You feel the car start to kind of bend, swing around, and unfortunately, you take 2 points of damage. As your
Alright.
shoulder, you are thrown from the driver's seat to the passenger seat, and your vehicle is in very, very rough shape. However, I have good news for you, Duncan. As you pull yourself together, rub the side of your head, you look around, you notice that maybe a quarter of a mile down the road, you see lights. And you think you see a small little sign that says Orchard Run. What would you like to do, Duncan?
Well, find my fedora first, and brush it off and put my jacket on, and make sure I have my service and badge, and just make sure I'm, back up to human looking.
Mhm.
Then start walking towards the lights, because got
Excellent.
nothing else.
Excellent. So you start walking towards the lights. I'm going to have you make another, if you don't mind, spot hidden check, please.
Can I do a listen check?
You know what? I'll allow it. I like
Okay.
that. So as you're walking, Duncan, you hear from the direction you're going these lights. It's like getting dark, but it's not quite evening time right now. But you see these lights from this diner. But somewhere like close to the diner, you hear what sounds like someone going, "Give it a little more, give it a little more, just a little more." Little ching, clang, clang. Ah, god damn it! You just hear someone yelling and shouting as though they just hurt themselves. And then you also can see, it looks like there's a couple of vehicles out front. And you see a little sign that says Orchard Run Gas Station and Cafe. Orchard Run Gas Station and Cafe. And you're able to approach. It takes you a few minutes to get there. And you see that there is indeed a diner with a number of interesting characters inside of it. There is also a little mechanic's shop, a little gas station. And thank you so much for the subscription, Broccoli. That's incredibly kind of you. And we see different people, and they all kind of look out at you. A little bit of a cut, looking a little dizzy, but there's a bunch of folks. They all just look over, not in unison. It's not that kind of creepy. But they all look over, and they just stare at you for a moment. And then a guy behind the bar of the cafe just kind of does one of these, like ushering for you to come inside.
I go towards him.
I like that. As you head inside, there are a number of individuals inside of this cafe. There is a young woman behind the bar. She looks to be a teenager, 16 or 17. There are there's two older people. There's a Teddy. He's like this old, kind of like balding looking man. He's sitting across from a table from an older looking woman. They look to be perhaps husband and wife. There is a gentleman with a almost Civil War style long beard that is like drinking from a little white coffee cup. Just kind of very, very nonchalantly looks over his shoulder, just goes, huh. Knocks back his coffee a little bit, sets it down. And then the man with a big burly mustache walks over and says, "You don't seem the type to be walking down the road. Car troubles?"
Yeah. Just up the road. Guess I didn't see the pothole, and now poor Bessie's almost hugging that tree.
Were you
To,
traveling through the city, or were you going to Arkham, or just on your way somewhere else?
Oh,
What was
I'm
going
on my way to Arkham. Yeah.
Right.
Do you have towing and repair here, or
We do.
all right?
You can definitely go get your car. How far up the road is it?
It's like 2 miles.
Mhm.
It's very, very, very close.
All right. Well,
So,
and
Lucky
he
break.
looks- he starts to get this kind of like proud look on his face. Kind of rolls his shoulder a little bit. He says, "Well, we just got a one of them telephones installed in here. So if there's anyone you need to make a call to," the young girl, 16 or 17, she goes, "Pa, not everyone needs to make a phone call." "I know, Mary, but we just got it. I wanted to let him know that it's here, and if Casey needed to make a phone call, he's welcome to do so." "Pa, you're embarrassing yourself and me." And then from the table, you see the older man and the older woman just kind of start to laugh to themselves. And the man at the end of the table, this burly Civil War-looking gentleman, he says, "Stuff ain't right. Shouldn't be able to talk to people that far away."
Well, little lady, don't worry. I actually do need to make a phone call. My friends are waiting for me, so now I need to tell them I'll be a little bit late.
He looks so excited. Like his eyes brighten up. He pushes to down along the bar, walking around. He moves over to you, extends his left hand and sort of, to welcome or usher you. And then he leads you down the rows. You pass next to this older looking woman, this older looking man. They both smile and nod. They're having some pancakes together. And then you walk past the man with the Civil War era beard. Doesn't even look up, just sits down, takes a drink of his coffee. And he leads you over this little old classic little wind up phone, with the little black, and it's like, "Hello," sort of thing. And he goes, "Well, you have to wind it up and then, ask for the operator and they should be able to connect you." And then he just stops and watches you.
Yeah.
He's just so excited. "You don't mind if I... Oh, I can give you privacy if you need it.
It's fine.
All right.
Take up the phone, wind it up.
This is the operator.
Arkham Hospital Asylum. What's it called again?
Are you speaking of St. Mary's Teaching Hospital?
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
One moment, sir. Connecting you now. They'll accept the charges. Connecting.
Thank you.
St. Mary's Teaching Hospital.
Looking for the room of David Knox. Yes, David Knox.
Yes, he is a patient here at the teaching hospital. Shall I... He is in a coma, though, last I checked. Shall I leave a message for him or some of his friends?
I'm looking specifically for his friend Amara Al-Wadin. Is she available?
Oh, yes. She actually does a wonderful job recommending certain literature. She's a very worldly young woman. Yes,
She
yes.
does
what,
that, yes.
What message should I leave for her?
Please tell her that her friend Murphy will unfortunately be late, as there seems to be some car trouble in what's the place called again?
Orchard Run.
Orchard Run. Yes.
Well, very good. I'll give them the message right now. Who should I say left it?
Murphy.
Murphy. Very good. Mr. Murphy, you have yourself a wonderful day, and thank you so much for calling St. Mary's Teaching Hospital.
It was my pleasure, man.
Platter. The man who has introduced himself. By the way, my name is Sam, and this is my daughter Mary. Did it sound good? Did it sound like they were right in the next room? What was it like?
It's always the fun thing, huh? Just like it's as if you're talking to them, like they're right next to you.
Science, I tell you, that's incredible. And we're going to cut back to St. Mary's Teaching Hospital, and I'd like you all to have a moment to continue your conversation as you see fit, but please.
Well, David, if you are improving in your health, and hopefully you can get out of this this damn bed and walk around a bit, we can discuss these next steps, which I think should include learning more about this cult or group, if they exist and they have such connections and such access to these very strange things. It stands to reason that there are more of them, and this becomes well, it threatens us all.
Given what happened to Marion Allen, I suspect that you might be right, even though that was decades ago. The cult surrounding the sarcophagus has clearly existed for thousands of years. It seems to be in our own best interest to continue the investigation that he, or I should say, that for him was tragically cut short. And you notice as he sits up in bed, probably with Anton helping him, trying to get his feet under him, he's scratching absently at his chest with a little bit of increasing vigor.
What is wrong?
Just a tickle in my lungs, that's all. And he starts clearing his throat and coughing.
You need cigarette.
Yes, I'm sure that will
I have
urge.
Russian cigarette, or you want American?
Which do you think is better?
Anton, do you want to kill him?
I get to you the American. Maybe one day you build up. So I'll light him up in an American cigarette and pass it over.
Thank you.
It's hard to get the Russian ones, but always remind you of home.
Funny, that's the last thing that I ever want to be reminded of.
There's a little knock on the door frame to this hospital room, and one of the nurses is there. Miss Amara?
Yes, hello?
There was a phone call for you from a Mr. Murphy, Duncan Murphy.
Yes.
He said he's having car troubles north of the city at Orchard Lake. I wrote this down for you. This is the same young woman from the front counter who you gave some recommendations to about reading and whatnot. And she passes you the note. Exactly everything you heard between Duncan and her earlier is what you get.
Thank you, dear. Will you please notify the head physician that David is up and around, please?
Absolutely. Oh, and it's almost as though she just realizes that David is awake. Hello. Yes. And then she quickly exits, goes and finds goes to look for one of the doctors.
Should have asked her for some broth. I'm starving. When she goes back. This friend of yours, is everything all right?
Knowing Murph, I am certain that he has taken that, well, let's call it like it is the beater of a vehicle and try to drive it all the way from Boston to here. And it has, of course, given up the ghost. And now he is in some backwater town somewhere, apparently Orchard Run. I've never heard of this place.
That name, David. Remember these dreams that felt vivid, that felt almost as though you're experiencing them. That name is emblazoned in your mind's eye. You remember Orchard Lake from that last dream where the car spun and there was a woman, this blonde-haired woman with bruises all over her face. That strikes something in you. Do with that as you see fit.
I would say that David's face visibly darkens as his hand begins to shake slightly, the cigarette's ashen tip knocking off.
Are you all right, David?
Strange coincidences. The mind runs away from you, I suppose, given what we've seen, the connections we've already forged. I just had a dream about that very place. I must have seen the name on a map at some point and just happened to rattle around in there.
I see. Perhaps you should try to get some more rest. Yeah.
Yes, just a coincidence.
Anton, will you please continue watching over David?
And
I'm going to make my way downstairs and try to give Murphy a ring back.
tell the nurse on the way to get David some, what would you say, broth.
Certainly. And she'll turn to David. American or Russian?
Borscht.
He's just sort of staring at the glowing tip of his cigarette as if transfixed.
David?
What?
It's all right.
Do American.
I will do that very thing. I was going to suggest American. I don't believe they have enough sandpaper in the building to make the other.
Anton looks confused.
But she'll head out.
And as she heads out, the doctor comes in. Amara, as you're heading downstairs, you overhear him saying, "It's good to see you up, David. David, how are you feeling? Tell us everything. What are you experiencing?" And a couple of nurses come in, and almost mirroring that first scene when you had entered the hospital and Rupert was still alive. You saw all these doctors huddling around. All of them are now huddling around outside of the room, asking on how David is doing. And David, it is a bit overwhelming, but we're going to follow Amara downstairs, where she heads to the front desk. That same nurse is now sat down. She's reading one of the novels that Amara had recommended. There's a small back and forth where she describes how amazing it is, and if you have any others, please let me know. And of course, you can use the telephone.
Of course, flag a nurse before I go down the first floor and mention that, hey, broth, no sandpaper, please.
Extra
But yeah,
sandpaper done for sure.
right,
Got it.
of course. And she will, on the phone, she will ring up the operator.
The phone, Duncan, you've sat down. Would Duncan have ordered something? Or would he simply just be sitting there? Would he have a cup of coffee? What would he be doing at this little diner?
So he's totally chatting up the daughter, making her feel like she's the most specialist girl in the world.
Oh, that's really nice of him. So there's this little back and forth. Did he order, or is he just?
Oh yeah,
he ordered?
like a pastrami sandwich or whatever meat they have with like a coffee.
She seems very interested into what you have to say. She's asking you, so wait, you're all the way from Boston, like the big city, Boston, like the big one, right?
The big one.
Wow, I've never really left Orchard Run. I've lived here my whole life with my pa, and obviously we've also got, and she's just kind of like bumbling a little bit, and you heard the ding, the guy in the back who's cooking, he says, "Order up," and she's like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, let me go grab that." She runs back, grabs it, and the phone, the end of the bar on the wall, starts to ring.
Turn around, look at the phone, and then look for the owner.
Yep. Sam almost like drops the plates he's carrying, takes it, sets it down in front of you, runs all the way back the other side around the bar, runs all the way. It's ring, ring. Amara, you hear it ring, 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 and finally you hear the click. Hello, this is Orchard Run's a diner. How can I help you?
Yes, hello. I believe there was a call made from this phone not too long ago from a Mr. Murphy.
Oh yes. And then you hear it. It's far too loud because he doesn't realize that he's yelling, but he yells you have to pull it back from your face for a moment. And then Duncan, he calls you over and says there's someone on the phone for you.
This is Murphy.
What did I tell you, Murph? What have I told you time and again? You need to upgrade or trade it in. You need to buy a bicycle if that is necessary. Don't
Told you
travel in that
not-
thing anymore.
told you a million times, Amara. It's not my vehicle. It's the department's. It's department issued. They deal with it.
So is the department going to come out here and give you a new car?
No. All these fine fellow here are have a little repair and towing, so should be fixed. When do you think you'll be able to rent getting it fixed? By the
You
way,
hear this almost as if on cue, a horrible scraping noise as your car is being towed with this old style tow truck, and the back bumper, because both back wheels were deflated, they burst. One of the wheels was kind of cattywampus. You just hear this scraping noise along the bit of concrete that they have, a little bit of gravel, and just scraping as your car is towed in towards the actual garage that's just south of the diner.
ooh, that's gonna take some time.
I think it might be in our best interest to come and get you, as opposed to you waiting around in Orchard's Run. believe.
Yeah, Orchard Run. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, if you don't mind, I mean, people are nice and fine, but you know, I'm sure we've got more pressing matters than that.
Well, I'll have to check in. We are staying with a new friend who has been ill lately. If the doctor clears him for travel, then we can be there within, I should say, 2 hours.
All right.
You, they said you were in a diner, cafe.
It's a diner garage combo thing. It's on the it's on the side of the road there. It's about about 2 hours from Arkham. At least that's what I think. Yeah. How far from Arkham from here?
About an hour and a half.
They say about an hour and a half, so more like 2. Yeah.
Murph, did you have an opportunity to take a look at the information I sent you?
Yeah, this is it's all new to me. It's very different from what I saw, but at the same time feels very similar.
So it is the ring of truth to you?
For sure. Yeah. Whatever they were up to in that attic, for sure they did something in the same vein. Yeah.
You know what your fellows at the precinct would say about this?
Oh yeah. It's okay. I let them talk.
You are still working at the precinct, yes?
Yeah. I took some leave. I've got like 2 years accumulated anyways, so can't say anything.
That you took leave. Leave was not given to you?
No, I've got accumulated like I don't know, almost 2 years. So yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry.
All right, Mav.
They think I'm on a self discovery tour of America. Put it that way.
Well, there's going to certainly be some self-discovery, I think.
I hope not too much.
But you settle in, order what do they have? Hamburgers, something. We shall be there
Yeah, I don't think
at least before the end of the evening.
that's the new hamburgers. But yeah, I got. I'll see you there. I'll see you like in 2 hours.
Yeah. A bientôt.
You too.
As you hang up, we're going to pivot back upstairs to Anton, David, and the medical staff. And David, when you woken, you felt weak, but every minute that has passed, you started to feel stronger and stronger and stronger. And you've now surpassed feeling... You feel stronger than you did before. The doctors can only describe it as a miracle that you are even able to stand. It appeared that you had been, battered. It appeared that you had been through some sort of episode. What description you gave the doctors of what had transpired will leave to the imagination. But David, you are standing, and you're feeling very awakened, very just very alive right now. All of a sudden, that tickle in your throat's still there. You've had some broth. Maybe it was the broth that did it. But the doctor is looking at you and says, "Well, son, I mean, if you're not feeling dizzy or confused or uncomfortably ill, I don't see any reason why I couldn't release you. It's entirely up to you, though, young man."
He looks around at the walls of the room. I've used to dream about having a position here. Maybe I still will one day, but right now, I just want to get out of this room and out of this hospital as quickly as I possibly can. So if you wouldn't mind, sir, yes.
Mm.
I'd like to be discharged.
All right. Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. That's fine. And you hear some of the other medical staff are kind of grumbling, like, "Well, should we keep him for observation? I mean, he was in a coma for 2 weeks. Yada, yada. It's like, but he's not showing any other symptoms." There's some back and forth. And Amara, you are now returning towards the room. You hear this commotion, this kind of discourse going back and forth amongst the medical staff. Some are saying that we should keep him. The head doctor's saying, "Well, we can release him. There's doesn't seem to be anything wrong with him. He was just unconscious." Yada yada yada. But yeah, you may enter the scene as well.
I think I would make a beeline to head cheese.
Mhm.
Am I hearing this correctly? That David is free to go?
Yes, we've run several tests on him, and he seems fine, other than being, in a coma. May I speak to you privately for a moment?
Certainly.
They're going to pull you off to the side, step outside. Will the medical staff move in? They're exclaiming how miraculous it is that David seems so awake, so alive. The head doctor, Dr. Francis, he says, "Moro, I can't. I don't have a medical explanation for what I'm seeing and what I've seen in David over the last 2 weeks. When you brought him in, he was near to death. In fact, based on my medical expertise, he should have, by all rights, been dead. And generally speaking, and he's kind of struggling to figure out how to put this into words, when I have seen people in his state, and there's something about him that reminds you of your soldiers from the Great War. Maybe he was a doctor, maybe he was a medic in the Great War. I've seen men come in to the hospital. I've seen men come into the medical tents in similar states to him, and they all died. Every single one of them. But rather than wasting away while he was asleep, he got stronger. Just keep an eye on him, if you would."
Are you a religious man, Doctor?
Straightens up a little bit. "I am."
Then I would suggest that you view this precisely what it seems to be, as a miracle, as a gift afforded to this unique, valuable young man that was not similarly afforded to our fellows on the field.
You serve?
I did, yes. Well, pardon. A more masculine version of me served, yes.
He will extend his hand to shake yours. Very firm. Gotta look out for each other. No one that wasn't there will ever understand.
Précisément. That's what I intend to do for David. So rest assured, if you release him, we shall take the utmost care of him.
God bless you. I'll get the paperwork ready. You can
Thank
leave
you.
as soon as you desire.
Merci.
And we see that the medical staff is kind of ushered out by the head doctor as he goes off to take care of the paperwork. Your clothing, your things are brought to you, David. They had been washed and scrubbed and stacked neatly for you. And you're able to get dressed back in your regular clothing. And again, I leave the scene to the three of you for a moment to discuss what you'd like to do.
Now, you're sure you're okay to go?
He coughs and clears his throat a few times, pats at his front pocket, shakes his head. I'm fine. Yes. Could I have another cigarette, actually?
Yeah, But pass it over.
Thank you.
It's a bad habit, David.
Well, if that's the worst habit I pick up from all of this, and I don't descend into a bottle, I think I'll be fairly well off.
Fair enough. How do you feel about traveling?
I think I'd like to get out of Arkham, put some distance between me and memories.
Well, bon chance. I have just the thing for you. Anton, my friend Murphy, apparently he is indeed trapped at some diner at a little place out of town. And I told him that we would, provided David was safe to travel, to meet him there to save time.
In Orchard Run.
Vraiment.
Yes, of course.
This is acceptable?
Yes, of course it is. When do we leave?
Right now, if everything is okay.
And-
Anton?
I am good. But David should probably ride in your car. He's more comfortable than in truck.
Yes, I would venture that. Yes, David, you're more than welcome to travel with me, unless you would like more of these Russian coffin nails.
It's a little bit bitter, but it's not unpleasant. No, I'll travel with you. Although I think once I actually speak to my lawyer, you may all be traveling with me.
Louis, I'm traveling with you.
No, I mean in the vehicles that I've told you about this. Yes, the inheritance.
He means, Anton, that he is, how you say, nouveau riche.
Bourgeois? The Reds, they talk about these.
Something to that effect. Yes.
It's okay with me.
If the two of you wouldn't mind, I would like to speak with the head physician just for a moment while you bring the car around.
No. Mara, your car, how many can sit? Only 2, 3? Or I can take my truck too?
It is, well, I'm going to skip over the historical accuracy and just say, yes, there's 4. There's 4 seats. Yeah, we can fit 4 inside.
Okay.
The back seats are not terribly comfortable, but they will do.
I am not parked in loading zone this time, so it's good.
And
Well,
quite frankly, I think that given the nature of recent events, we really should be sticking rather close together.
Hmm.
good idea, David. Easier to pick us off all at once.
You said it was such a delightfully pessimistic view of things.
Well, I've seen a great war.
In many ways, I think we've seen worse. Not that I'm one to judge.
I'm starting to believe you. Well, regardless, Anton, let's go.
And,
As Anton and Amora exit, leaving David by himself. David, I'd like you to give us a quick spot hidden, if you wouldn't mind. Quick spot hidden, just a standard.
Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We'll leave that alone. And you hear a little knocking on the door frame again. It's the head doctor, Francis. He has just a little pad of paper, script on it, just, saying that you're released. And he walks over, rips it off, and hands it to you. I must say, David, I can only describe your quick recovery as some sort of miracle. But as far as I can tell, you are perfectly, surprisingly healthy. But, if you ever do need us again, you are always welcome to return. Your late benefactor was a patron of our teaching hospital. He donated.
Yes, I recall that a number of the vultures were circling him as he was laying his deathbed, fearful that his his contributions to the hospital would cease. He raises a hand before the doctor can respond. However, they are not going to cease. In fact, they are going to increase. But I need you to do something for me, doctor, and there is one very important stipulation. And he takes the pad and then begins writing out the information for his lawyers, to contact his lawyers.
Mhm.
Cancer. I need you to look into cancer. There's no way to truly screen for it, not reliably, and it's a death sentence in most cases. I want that to change. I need you to use these funds as best as possible to perform every necessary investigation into the condition, the way in which the body turns against itself and begins to betray one. I need you to focus your research efforts on cancer.
I'd like you to take a moment to describe, Matthew, how frantic does David seem? Like, what is his writing like in this moment? I'm asking because it's going to really determine how the doctor responds to David in this moment. Does he seem just intense because he's passionate? Does he seem borderline obsessive?
I would say that it starts out as a kind of vehement passion that the doctor may have seen previously if he had ever met David when he was on his tours of the hospital previously, because of his commitment to people's well-being and that desire to pay his benefactor back for the largesse that was expressed towards him. But as he speaks, looking at him straight in the eye as he is writing, the handwriting starts to trail off slightly and become more sloppy and forceful in its strokes. And his voice takes on a bit of an air of desperation, like somebody who feels that a loved one is on the brink of death and what they are asking for is the sole cure.
David, you've become so obsessed with this that you've really started to tunnel vision. And even your hearing, all you can hear is that kind of muffled sound of your own voice. And then somewhere, as though you're hearing it from another room behind a closed door, this kind of muffled sound, but the person talking is getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until finally you hear, David! David! It's the doctor, and he's got a gentle but firm hand on your shoulder, and he's shaking you. David, of course, we'll look into cancer. We'll dedicate as much resources as we can, but David, you thank you. Thank you for your continued generosity. Give me a quick. Why don't you give me a quick? Be like, I'm having a mental block here. What's like a good sense motive check? Intelligence,
Psychology.
psychology. Give me a good psychology check, please. Okay, perfect. The doctor seems fine. He gives you your little release paperwork. Looks almost happy at the mention that you're going to continue your donations. The only thing you notice is that he leaves the room a little quicker than he entered. You're not sure why, but that's okay. Where does David go?
David actually looks down at his hands that are trembling ever so slightly, reaches for his pocket, and of course realizes that there are no cigarettes there. Cigarettes don't cause cancer, we know that. And then looks around at the room and storms out without any other actions, going towards the front exit.
Amara and Anton, you have pulled the car up to the front, purring like a kitten. Great vehicle, well designed, put together, well taken care of, no issues whatsoever. David,
Oh.
you see Amara, you see Anton. Are you sitting in the back, Anton, or are you sitting in the passenger seat?
I'll give David as much room as he needs.
Very good friend. Very good friend. But we see the door click open. David, you're able to get in. Any parting words, or do you simply take off at that smooth, quick 40 miles an hour?
And we have an hour and a half drive.
Gonna hit the nos.
Ring is what you hear. That's what we get.
No, I think I would. I think Amara would take a final drag of her cigarette and just like flick it out of the window, crank it up, and then peel out of the.
Yeah.
She's kind of a, not a lead foot exactly, but she's like, she drives faster than she seems.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. And as you all take off, heading out of the north side of Arkham, we watch the vehicle traveling, and up ahead you see some clouds seem to be rolling off distant from the mountains, as is tradition. Is there going to be rain? Oh, you're gosh darn tootin'. There's going to be rain. But we watch as a normal storm for, kind of a late fall, early winter storm starts to roll in. A little bit of rain, thunder, etc. And David, you can't help but just this drive, this everything just feels very much deja vu to you right now. A lot of deja vu right now. Any of the small talk that you're having in the car, anything that you see a tree, you see a sign, you see mile markers, like everything just feels like you're experiencing it for the second time, driving and driving and driving. But Duncan, you've finished your meal. In fact, you've had several cups of coffee. The girl, Mary, has been chatting you up, just asking about the big city, what's it like, just picking your brain. You're probably the most interesting person she's seen in, well, quite a long time. Since this young woman came through in this fast little sporty car. I think her name was Ama or something like that. But she was very, very interesting. But as you are sitting there at the counter, having the conversation, the old couple behind you has ordered a second round of pancakes. It seems to be it's a Sunday. It seems to be like their day where they go out, have fun, out in the country and whatnot. There is a bit of clattering. You hear that rolling thunder, and then you can hear the rain start coming down, and Sam looks out and says, "Ah, hell, damn it. Storm's come in. Mary, we're gonna have to go and close up the back doors. Take care of that." Yeah. Of course, moves off. And he looks over, rubbing it. Hope the doctor's all right. Well, I'll have to go check on him. Let's see here, Jake. Can you watch the front bar for me here? Anybody else comes in? Okay, the old man with the younger man, not young, but middle-aged man with the Civil War beard, shakes his head. I'll take care of it, Sam. Don't worry about it. And Amara, give me a listen check. Not Amara. Excuse me, Duncan. Duncan, give me a listen.
I can do that. Wow. I am good with them rolls tonight.
Your ears start to bleed, and you just hear this high-pitched squealing noise. It's the last bit of hearing you'll ever hear before you're losing completely. No, it's fine. We'll leave that there. It's fine. But it starts raining. Sam puts on one of those heavy, like, yellow raincoats. Put up. Looks like a fisherman's raincoat. He heads out the front door. Starts to head southward down to the little mechanic shop. And is gone for a little bit. And the man, the old man and his wife, were sitting across from each other having their second round of pancakes. He kind of leans in a little bit, and you can almost feel him. You can almost feel him like looking at you, and you get the impression, maybe you look over your shoulder, that he wants to ask you a question. He's very curious about something.
I turn around and acknowledge that he's looking at me.
Forgive me, young man. I couldn't help but notice your badge there on your hip. Are you an officer or a policeman of some sort?
Yes, sir. I am a detective with the Boston PD.
Oh, you hear that? You hear that, Winfred? He's a detective with the Boston. Our son works up in Boston as a police officer. He's trying to become a detective. I was wondering, have you ever met and he's just stumbling over his words. Winfred, his wife, puts a hand up and sort of calms him down. What my husband is trying to say is our son Robert. He's a police officer up there. We're wondering if you'd met him.
I can't say if I have or haven't, but I will sure keep an eye out the next time I'm back up, for sure.
Are you high up in the detectives, the head detective or something?
No, I'm just a simple detective within this 22nd.
Well, if you do meet our boy, the young man, the older man gets a little bit more intense. Could you perhaps put in a good word for him? He's a hard-working young man. He's got that go-getter attitude. Yes.
It'll be my pleasure to look into it for sure.
Nods a little bit. He looks excited and happy, and the man down at the table, the Civil War beard man, you've come to know his name is Jake. Police officer. Just ignores it. I love it. Stoic, stone cold. We cut back. It's been roughly an hour and 30 minutes or so. You should be getting closer. The rain's been coming down, so it's bogged you down a little bit, but you've made good time despite the fact that it's been so stormy and rainy, etc. But you're driving, and David, this feeling of, if you've ever walked through the woods late at night and you just feel like you're being watched, you feel like there's something out to get you, you don't hear anything, it's very quiet, there's just that ominous kind of instinctual feeling like you're in danger, that kind of existential dread almost. Getting more and more intense for you. And in fact, Amara, you've actually noticed that David's right leg has started to bounce, shake. Maybe he's patting his knee a little bit. And that tickle, David, that you've got in your throat, you're constantly clearing, almost like you've got really bad acid reflux. That's becoming more and more intense. And it feels, that tickle, you need some more of that broth. It's just starting to become more and more intense. Please, take a moment to talk.
Is something wrong, David?
He's silent for a moment, but you can see that he's sort of processing and mulling over the question and how he should answer. And he slumps his sort of corpulent and yet misshapen body, sagging in the seat. If it weren't for what we'd just gone through, I would probably dismiss this as feeling and irrelevancy, but there's something wrong here. Something very wrong. And everything that we're seeing, this road, the signs, where we're going, the strangest sense of deja vu. It feels like I've been here before.
You live in this area, no?
Not on this road. I've never had to go to Bolton. But I've been here.
Have you been here, but not been here?
I told you that if it weren't for what we've just gone through, the impossible, I wouldn't say anything, but it's just a feeling. Maybe it's the...
Yeah, it's good to listen to feelings. They keep you alive. Mara, you think too?
I know when I was serving, there was a sort of little tickle at the back of the neck, the hairs with the bristle ever so slightly when we felt as shelling or mustard gas or something of that nature. It's almost like a natural warning. Yes, very much. If your body is telling you something, David, I suspect you should listen.
The body can be disturbed by the most minute of perturbances to the system. What is it that old story, that novel? You're a fan of novels, after all, said that a spot of undigested cheese or a crumb of overdone potato can produce a host of phantasms. Scrooge.
David, you are not Scrooge. You are more the Bob Cratchit, yeah?
I simply mean that I could feel something and it could not be real.
She will grab her flask, which you know has got some strong bourbon in it, and hand it over to you. That should take care of that undigested bit of beef. Yeah.
As you are reaching for the flask, Amara, take your eyes off the road for the briefest moment. David, as you look for her reaching towards the flask, you have that feeling I've described of this existential dread becomes so overwhelming that it feels like your breath has been sucked out of your lungs. It feels like your lungs are completely devoid of breath. Your head almost involuntarily snaps from looking towards Amara to the windshield. You see a figure running from left to right across the road. It's roaring rain just coming down. The figure for the briefest of moments, and you see kind of this double vision of this dream that you had is now matching up with reality, as though those two feelings, that feeling of deja vu suddenly collides with reality. I need you to give me a dexterity check as you instinctually grab towards the steering wheel.
Well, that's not going to be good.
Amara, as you take your eyes off the road for the briefest of moments, you reach down in that little pocket in the actual door, or maybe it's in your flask. You reach down, taking one of your hands off, the right hand off the steering wheel. You reach into the pocket. You feel the steering wheel jerk hard to the left, where you see David has grabbed onto the steering wheel. You struggle against it. As you look up back to the road, you see this woman running across. Give me a drive auto check, please.
Ooh, shouldn't have said I was driving. Let's see what happens.
You try to resist, but unfortunately, as you turn to kind of correct what David was doing, you actually steer the car not away from this figure running across, but towards her. There is a loud thud and the shattering of glass. David, as you look, you follow this. You can see it's a woman. It appears to be battered, completely soaked by the elements, and she tumbles and spills and rolls across the road. You were in the right lane. She kind of stumbles across the road and down into a small little ditch on the side of the road. Amara, you slam the brakes, bringing the car to a screeching, let's stop. You see that your right headlamp has been knocked out. You don't know if she's dead. You don't know if she's alive. You've just hit someone.
She'll like bash the like kind of meat of her palm against the steering wheel. Put that the matter, David. What the hell are you doing?
It was the second time. It happened, and shakes his head, and he's going to burst right out of the door and start running towards her.
David, Anton, please.
And as soon as he's out the door, I'm out of the door.
Beautiful.
I'm assuming it's
Climbing
got
out.
4
Leaving
doors.
Amara alone.
Yeah.
Her right hand hurting slightly from how hard she bashed the steering wheel. But David, you are out into the elements of this thunderstorm. You are instantaneously, within seconds, completely drenched. You're running back. You think it was maybe 20, 30, no, 40. It's actually about 50 feet back. And you look down, and as you look down, you see a young woman. She is struggling to get to her feet. She is struggling to get to her feet, and surprisingly, perhaps luckily, perhaps it is a miracle of some sort, it seems that she's not injured. Or at least if she is, it's not showing any external signs of injury. As she struggles to get to her feet, her face, she kind of like pushes herself up. She's leaning. Imagine if the hill goes down, it's muddy, it's soaked, the grass is all matted, it's storming, the rain is coming down. And as she turns towards you, David, you are getting closer and closer, about 10 feet from her. You see that her mouth is opened as though she is trying to scream, but there is no sound coming out. It's just this kind of almost like squeaking kind of noise that you hear. The woman herself appears to be in shock as you approach her. You're now right next to her. She is, her hands are out in front of her, this open mouth expression kind of noise, kind of squeaking. Her hands are almost as though she looks like some sort of doll. They're just trembling in front of her. Maybe it's the pain of being hit by a car, maybe it's something else. Her face is bruised and cut. She appears to be wearing a sort of like an evening dress, like a dinner dress. Maybe she was at a party or something. But you are seemingly in the middle of nowhere at this point. But you can make a first aid check, medicine. You take a look and decide what you'd like to do.
Does Anton see this?
Yeah, you've just approached
Okay.
just behind him. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Amara, you can decide if you'd like to join afterwards or stay in the car.
Oh no, when Anton got out, I also
Okay, perfect.
got
So
out. Yeah.
So David, you're there first, and all three of you are next to this woman, making this kind of squeaking noise in this moment. Continue.
Amaro, there's a woman down in the ditch.
Yes, I will. David, could you check her vitals? I will try to keep her calm and steady. And I'll sort of kind of make my way down in sort of the ditch area and with my hands out, right, and approach the woman and say, I'd like to use charm basically for this. I'd like to say, are you all right, miss? It's okay. You can take it slowly. Huh? We did not intend to hurt you. It was an accident.
As she continues to squeak and just sort of chirp, shaking, trembling, there is a look on her face that, David, reminds you of that transient, that hobo that you ran into in the barn, that this kind of, I've witnessed something I shouldn't have, and it reminds you of that as you were analyzing her. And Amara, as you moved around, maybe just sliding your way down the hill, getting in front of her, you're about eye level with her. She's sitting, her knees brought up, her hands trembling in front of her. you notice that she has an amulet of some kind. It's around her, so she's got this going out dress kind of thing, maybe like flapperish style. This amulet is hanging with a gold chain, and it's a coin-like kind of medal or medallion. It's inscribed with a series of particular symbols, some sort of odd writing. Does anyone have? Can everyone roll me a quick Cthulhu Mythos roll if you've got it? I think everyone can roll it, but go ahead and roll that for me. Fantastic. It was good. It was a great roll. Great roll. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, there's no point to my rolling either. I got nothing.
Perfect. Okay. Good. 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 Good.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend the 12 luck.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Why not?
You don't know why you know this, David,
Right.
but you recognize these symbols. The name and the term Aklo. You recognize these symbols as being an Aklo script. You don't know what they mean, but you recognize that there's some sort of ancient script known as Aklo, A-K-L-O. Something is... Why would she have this? She shouldn't have it. That's weird. Like, what? Like, there's something about the amulet, something about her. It's all starting to seem. It's all starting to feel familiar as to what just transpired. That's the impression. That's all starting to feel wrong again.
All he's doing is staring transfixed at that amulet as Amora attempts to placate her.
Your charm, Amara. Did you roll that?
No, I have not yet.
Let's have you roll that real quick.
Okay.
Beautiful. The woman is still this kind of croaking, this kind of struggling to communicate, but finally this sort of glossy-eyed, frantic, bruises, cuts, scrapes on her face give you a better idea of what she looks like. I'm just going to share her token with you. You can see her for a moment. She's just got cuts and scrapes, short hair, completely drenched, soaked, as it were.
Oh, we all are.
But she finally croaks out. The light. The light. It killed them. All of them. Run. Get out of here. And she just starts to breathe and hyperventilate, and whatever moment of clarity that she had seems to quickly fade, and then you just start to hear this shaking.
The light was the headlights of the car?
I don't know. Anton, help me. Let's move her into the passenger side of the car. David.
Right.
Come.
No, in the back. I'll get in with her and then I'll get her out of the cold. I'll check her.
Good. And we will all attempt to sort of like get her quickly, but
Gently.
Gently, yeah, to the back seat of the car.
Beautiful. And she doesn't struggle or resist, but she still almost moves doll-like and shaking. All you get are these little chirps, whimpers, cries. She herself is not sobbing or crying. She just completes. You've seen this before, Amara. It looks like shell shock. If you had to describe it, it looks like complete and utter shell shock. But as you get her back into the car, you realize that this particular storm is very quickly becoming too much for what a 1920s automobile would be able to handle. Don't have quite as good a treads as they have these days. A little bit lighter vehicle, and the roads aren't quite as nice as our modern roads. So finding somewhere to stop would likely be a logical thing to do. Now, as fate would have it, as there is a flash of thunder, a flash of lightning, a roll of thunder, you can just barely make out through the heavy rain. Orchard. See it. You can see the signs for this Orchard Run gas station and cafe. Now, what you guys would know about Orchard Run is that there's a little cabins that you can rent, kind of like a little way station you can rent, stay for the night, kind of an old style hotel or a B&B sort of thing. And then they've got their little cafe, a little gas station, so folks can load up on fuel and whatnot. But based on where you're at, it's probably maybe just up the road. You should be able to make it. So just drive.
Well, I think once Anton and I get the woman into the back, I'll gesture for David to go in, in the back with her. I will trace back around to the driver's side, open it up, get in, try to start the vehicle, and basically say, Bordel de merde, this is the second time we have almost been flooded. We've got to get out of here. The weather is too much. I'm going... Orchards Run, you see the sign? Coming there, we should pull off. We'll get her some help. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
Try to keep her talking. Or making noises. Putain.
Well, so Anton's talking back to her. David, she talks English or?
It seems so, yes. And David is, as they're having that conversation, trying to keep her engaged, trying to maintain a connection with her. David will just give her a kind of perfunctory analysis or investigation.
Anton's just talking to her, trying to anything small talk. So you dressed in party dress? You going to party? Come from party?
Yeah, charm. Real quick, you guys are driving down the road, getting closer and closer.
Would a persuade
Yeah,
be
I'll take
even
that.
better?
Fine.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I can find it on my sheet again. Okay, there it is.
Damn. All right. Wow. So again, she's been kind of frantic, shaking, not frantic, but shaking, almost comatose, seeming to be in and out of it. And perhaps it's you sitting next to her, and perhaps you lay a calming hand on her knee. Perhaps you do something. You reach over. It's like, it's okay, girl. And the shaking stops. The chirping, this kind of crying that she's doing, stops, and her hands very deliberately go down to her thighs. They rest on them. And she just kind of rubs them back and forth as though calming herself for a brief moment. I promise you that I'm not crazy.
Nobody think you're crazy. I'm not crazy.
Yes, I did.
Crazy.
I did spend some time in the sanatorium. I know my grandfather. He's ill, and we've been staying here. We've been staying in the cabin for 7 months. His health has gotten worse and worse. But Dr. Webb said that he had a cure. He could save him. He could, but
Is your grandfather okay now?
he takes her hand and starts to hit her head. Closed palm, just the kind of palm just kind of hits her head back. It's not. It wasn't just like the doctor said. I need just 1, 2. It's all in my head. I'm not crazy. And she's starting to kind of lose her sense of. You think she's maybe starting to lose her sense of reality in this moment. And up ahead, Amara, you see the lights of the diner. You see there's 2 vehicles parked. And you also see that there appears to be an abandoned truck of some kind that looks like it kind of veered kind of off the road for a moment and then curved back in. The lights are still on, but the truck itself is completely abandoned. Or at least looks to be abandoned. The doors are open, and it just looks like it's sitting there running in the middle of the road right now.
I think she would screech into the sort of the diner parking lot and throw the thing into park, and basically try to start ushering everybody inside so that they can get to, like a first aid kit or anything that's not like 100% water at this point.
Perfect.
But this truck is just in the road in front of the diner With
in
the
room
doors
right now.
thrown open.
Yep, the doors thrown open, lights on, the engine's still running.
Amara, slow down, slow down.
Too late, she's parked.
David will look over at Anton as Amara is probably coming around to help Amelia out of the back of the car. I should stay with her and check on her once we get inside. Maybe there's a first aid kit, but do you? And he points over to the car. Do you want to investigate that?
I don't trust. It's the mob does hits and truck comes up. People get out. Boom, boom, boom inside place. Get back inside running truck and go.
So as he steps out into the rain, he'll kind of call over the car as Amara comes around. Will you go with Anton?
Where are we going?
If we go inside the diner, we need to be careful. I don't trust the car in the middle of the road.
We need to be careful everywhere. We are going to drown out here.
Yeah, but do you have your you still have your pistol, no?
And she'll like show the holster, right?
Okay.
The shoulder holster.
You ready?
Yes.
Let us go inside first.
Right. Come. Cling.
There's a cling cling as you all enter inside, and Amara, you quickly see your old friend or acquaintance, I would call him, Duncan. He has just finished his 8th cup of coffee. You're feeling pretty jittery right now, Duncan, or maybe you're feeling normal since you probably drink a lot of coffee. And the young woman has ceased peppering you with questions. She got all her info that she wanted out of you, and she quickly walks over and says, "Wow, we haven't been this busy in forever. Welcome everyone. Amelia, is that you? What's happened? Oh my God!" She makes her way around. You're hurt. What? You're completely drenched. What happened? And she starts asking questions about what transpired.
Yeah, for sure, I rush to help and subtly move between myself and the poor girl that's asking too many questions right now.
Yeah. Perfect. It's Duncan. He's joined the scene.
I give a quick nod to Amara. Always fun with you. What's this?
Accident out on the road. She was out in this weather. She's confused. She probably needs medical aid. Find a first aid kit and take care of her. Anton, let's go.
Yeah.
Turn to Marie. And
Everything's okay inside?
Everyone looks
Talking to
around.
Murphy.
Everyone looks around.
Oh, talking to Murphy, right?
Yeah, Murphy, go ahead.
I turn to Marie. So, girl, do you have a first aid kit?
Yes, it's in the back. Let me go get it. She
Thank you.
runs back into the kitchen. Go grab it.
Do you see the car parked in the road? Engine running, all 4 doors open, nobody inside car?
Duncan.
All right, Cat.
Duncan, you do see it. And yeah, it wasn't there earlier. Weird.
That's new.
I don't trust. Tamara and I go check out.
Okay.
I mean, I don't need any help here, Mr. Murphy, was it? When Mary, I believe it was, comes out with the first aid kit, I'll take a look at Amelia here, and all 3 of you can go.
Okay. Take the girl to a booth.
Absolutely no. Murphy, do you still have your service pistol?
So I never leave home without it.
One of us needs to be here, and the other at the truck. We shall not leave this place defenseless, especially with these people inside.
Is
All right.
everything all right over there? It seems that you're all soaking wet. I think they have towels in the back. Mary, can you grab some towels? young man at the end of the bar there, Jake Burns. He looks over and says, "Out of towners, please."
Yes, everything is fine, sir. We are just trying to get Amelia here some help. Can we leave before we become
And
to the circus?
Who's going
Gonna-
out to the truck? Is my question.
Anton.
Yeah, Anton and I are going out to check the truck.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anton and Amara head back out into the element. Mary returns with a first aid kit. David, you begin to administer some basic medical aid. She appears to have no broken bones. She appears to maybe have some bruising, some cuts, some scrapes, but it all seems relatively superficial. But she is floating kind of in and out of this sort of semi-conscious state, mumbling, croaking, and just seems, not quite herself. Seems almost beside herself. But Anton and Amara, you quickly make your way out into the pouring rain towards this vehicle. You see that the passenger door, similar to the driver's side door, is open. And as you're getting closer and closer, I want you both to make some listen check, if you'd be so kind.
Listen, it is.
Anton. Anton, you hear a very distant, but you hear this kind of, sounds like something large, similar to when that kind of rustling that I described to Reginald back in session 3, something big moving through the trees. And as you listen and you hear it pass the truck, you think for the slightest of moments you see this kind of white, semi-translucent looking ball of light. Seems to be kind of dancing on the tops of the tree, kind of going from tree to tree, almost like it's leapfrogging from tree to tree, and it seems to flicker, a flickering light, and then goes out. And you can hear the trees kind of rustling. It's more than just the wind. It's more than just the rain.
So it's a solid.
More than just the storm. It's as though something was up in the tops of the trees, kind of leaping
It's high
back
up.
and forth.
It's high up off the ground.
60, 70 feet off the ground. Yeah.
Was Anton the only one to see this?
Amara, you get within about 20 feet. Maybe Anton, you pause for a moment. Amara, you get within about 20 feet of the truck. And you can see that there's someone sitting in the passenger seat. Also appears to be someone sitting in the driver's seat as well.
I think at this point, Amara would sort of draw her pistol, again, keep it down at the side, and she would call out, "Hello?
Rain
Do you-
continues to fall.
Do you need assistance?"
Rain continues to fall. Engine continues to run. No motion, no movement, no response.
I'm approaching. Don't make any sudden movement.
And with that, Anton kind of stops looking in the tree. That light goes away.
The light is gone. It was just for the briefest of moments you saw it.
And
It
back
seemed
to
as
Amara.
though it was moving away from the truck.
Okay. And when she starts yelling in the truck, it's like, I tell you what I said. I saw in a minute. What? And I guess I see inside the cab now. 45 out. Do you want to stay? Do you want me to go? I go check. You cover it. No?
So as you both approach, Amara, you're not even really hearing her at this moment. You're focused so solely on these two. You can't really see them. The light not illuminated, but as you get closer and closer and closer within about 10 feet, 5 feet, And you pause because you see the arm, and it almost feels like you're reliving that moment where you saw the body of Rupert Merriweather's son. You see the hand is kind of off to the side, out. But this time, there's no blood. This hand that you see appears to be no more than skin and bone. And the skin itself is the palest white you have ever seen. As your eyes travel from the hand up, you get a little bit closer, you can start to make out. You see that whoever this person was, it looks as though they have been completely drained of fluids, muscle, everything. It is as though you are looking at a gaunt, pale skeleton with skin. This person's eyes are completely white. Their hair was black, but appears to be almost kind of like bleach with little bits of like speckles of black. Their head is back, their mouth agape, and their tongue appears to have been pulled out from their mouth, stretched to an almost serpentine-like length, and is draped down over the front of their face. And it is the only portion of their body that has any coloring to it. And as you watch this tongue, it seems to twitch for a moment, and you hear this this moan emanate from this, what should be more than likely dead person's body. You do.
Probably swallow some vomit. Kind of like maybe put the back of my hand to my mouth. Hard swallow. Try to get the adrenaline going, and I would start to raise my pistol up slightly, and again take some slow steps forward. I'm coming closer. Once again, I ask, do you need assistance?
Anton, what are you doing?
I am following right up on Amara. Do I see this yet?
You do.
Kind of the same thing. A little catching the breath, and she's got that covered. I kind of go to the back. You said all 4 doors were open?
All there's it's a 2-door truck.
A 2-door truck.
Both doors are open.
Okay. I told her I'm going to go check the other side now.
She will just kind of like not look away, just kind of nod, acknowledging that she heard you.
Okay. Started walking around. Hello, people in truck.
You're walking around the
Here to
back
help.
side to the driver's side.
Go around through the front of the vehicle, passenger side,
You walk around the
driver's
front.
side.
The lights kind of illuminate you. You see your long shadow kind of stretch out into the trees. And you move your way around, and in the driver's side, you see a similar looking person. Their hair is a little bit longer, a little bit more color. It's brown. And the same skin and bone, completely white, so they've been drained of all color, everything. And again, that long tongue stretched out, almost serpentine. This one does not move, it does not twitch. But as you round the corner, the body sort of twitches and then falls out onto the road. And there is this sickening crunch as the body falls The arm hits first, snaps just in between, almost like equal distance between the wrist and the elbow. Snaps as though it was made of like a very, very thin biscuit. You hear the sickening snap. You hear the head crash into the ground. The skull crunches, but there's no blood. You simply see this skin torn back. There's just a ever so slight seeping of what appears to be maybe a little bit of gray matter, brain fluids, as it were. That person is very dead. Amara, you are approaching the other side. That tongue twitches one more time, and the head slowly, you can almost hear the bones scraping against each other as though there is no lubrication between the joints. It's this like this crack, 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 crack. The head starts to turn almost mechanically, and then there is just this like loud, almost siren-like scream that emanates as though the last bit of air inside this person's lungs are being expelled. The car engine starts to rattle as though it's about to stall, and there is a brief moment where it sputters, then cuts. The front lights cut, and it should be dark, but there is this faint, white, translucent illumination emanating from the woods. And as two of you look towards it, the briefest of moments, you think you see this swirling, horrifically burned floating head in between and in the middle of this white swirling light. Its mouth, similar to the bodies you've just discovered, opens wide. There is a horrific, blood-curdling moan that emanates. The trees shake. It seems to fight the sound of the storm and overcome it. I need both of you to make sanity checks. From inside of the diner, the windows begin to rattle. The old man and woman both look out. They see this glowing light. Duncan, you see this glowing light. Fantastic. Alright, we got sanity check success. You're good. Anton, you lose 4 sanity as you see this. From inside Duncan, you are luckily far enough away that all you see is this kind of white glowing light. And with that, my friends, that is where we are going to end today's session. On that note, as something in the woods. Great job, everybody. I know we just kind of got to introduce Duncan. I like him already. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to very quickly discover what the heck is going on. God only knows. God only knows what's going on. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. But,
You should probably know.
Yeah.
I mean, I do.
I hope so.
But I don't want to tell you that I do because it ruins the surprise, right? But no, great job, everybody. Thank you so much for playing. And as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we get ready to wrap this thing up?
Oh, good.
If I had a nickel for every time I discovered a weird body in the driver or passenger seat of a car, I'd have 2 nickels.
3 nickels, which there's 3 bodies.
3 nickels, which isn't a lot of nickels, but it is weird that I have 3 of them.
3 nickels. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
But absolutely fantastic job, and thank you so much for playing. I look forward to. So actually, unfortunately, next weekend I'm going to a musical, so we will have to take off next weekend. So there's going to be a 2-week delay. I know, super suspense, cliffhanger. Oh no! We'll be back in the first Sunday of December. That would be great. And in the meantime, as I always say at the end of our session, thank you so much to the players for playing. It's been really fun. Thank you so much to the viewers for viewing. Thank you to Broccoli the Great for the sub. I really appreciate that. It does go right back into creating more content. That's all I use this stuff for. And, you know, that's how you get the big production value over here with the black and white and all that good stuff. There you go. But with that being said, happy gaming, and we'll catch you next time.